Hello there, my name is JD from Studio 2105. Welcome back to MixStream Online and a brand new episode of Weekly Update Wednesdays. In this week's video, I'm going to be going through some of the lessons that I've learned throughout my 20 odd so years of being in the audio industry. Most of these lessons I've had to learn along the way, and hopefully what I've got to share with you in this video is going to be helpful if you are studying in a music audio school, or you just freshly graduated, or even if you're thinking about pursuing a career in audio. As usual, if you are new to this channel, a warm welcome to you, right? Thank you and a big shout out once again to all the patrons who help to support the channel financially. Do click on the subscribe button and also click on the notification bell so that you'll be updated every time I upload a brand new video. Do sign up for the email list, and if you want to support the channel, do head on down and become a patron at www.patreon.com/studio2105. Alright, this week's featured question goes like this. What are the lessons or realizations that you have learned as an audio professional that could have helped if you knew it early on? This is an awesome question, and I really had to sit down and think about what I wanted to say, what I wanted to share on this video, okay? Well, because online, on Facebook, and on all the forums, we always, there's always discussion about technical stuff, about what's the best compressor, what's the best EQ, what's the best mic on a mic pre. With so many of those kind of questions and discussions, right? It's great when once in a while a question about some of the career and some of the experiences and life lessons learned comes up. Okay, so right, I took a little bit of time to think about what are some of the lessons or realizations that I've learned in personally, right? And I'm going to be sharing with you today. So sit back and relax. We're going to go through a list of 10 lessons that I've learned throughout my career as an audio professional. Number one, the value of formal education extends beyond the diploma or the degree. There is this often repeated argument that, you don't need a formal education to get into professional audio. And yeah, we do hear enough stories of how this or that successful engineer or producer got to where they are, right, from scratch, from the ground up, with no formal education. Maybe they just came up as a runner or a coffee pour or a studio janitor or something like that, right? We hear enough of those stories that we sometimes are convinced that that is true and that is the case. Now, but the reality on the ground is that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of aspiring audio professionals. Every year, there are many students that are graduating from audio schools and competing for a very small pie of available jobs out there in the industry. And out of those many hundreds, if not thousands, of young graduates or young people out there like you, only a few hardworking and lucky individuals would have had their careers progress that way. Now, so for the majority of us, now having a degree obviously will help you get your foot in the door. Now, the first thing any potential employer will look for are your paper qualifications, okay? Right? That's the first thing we will look at. We'll look at your resume, we'll look at your cover letter, and right, we want to see what your qualifications are and what your references are. Having graduated from an audio school will immediately place you in a position of advantage compared to another person who hasn't. Now, okay, this is all cliche information, okay? And it's something that I don't need to repeat. And when it's all said and done, in the end, it always comes down to your skills. You got to prove it in practice when you actually get into the studio. Comes down to your personality. All right, are you a nice person? Are you a great and a pleasant person to work with? Do people love working and interacting with you? Your work ethic, it's all these things, right, that will get you hired again and again. We often complain about the quality of the education, for example, like high tuition fees. Maybe we complain about the faculty, we complain about the teachers and the lecturers, we complain about facilities and the equipment in college. But personally, I've learned that really it is actually up to you, the individual student, to make the most of the learning experience in college or university. Now, college is a resource where you can tap into the knowledge and experience of those around you. If you just attend your classes, you just go and earn your credit hours, you just do your quizzes, your assignments, your projects, and if you just restrict your education to just that and then earning your degree or your diploma, you've really pretty much just wasted a couple of years of your time. Learn about the industry beyond what's in the textbooks and the classroom walls. Talk to your teachers, ask them about their real life experiences and the lessons that they've learned. And very importantly, learn from your peers and those around you. Now, college is really the best time to lay down the foundations and build your networks amongst your college mates, be it those who are your seniors or your juniors, musicians, right? Folks and people who are working in the industry. This is the time for you to build your network, to build your relationships, okay? Many of these relationships that you foster will pay off in the future, right? Many of them, right, will end up being your clients or even collaborators in the future. Personally, that's what my experience has been, Many of those who I studied and attended college with ended up being people that I work with nowadays, right? They may have projects and then, they come over and, to my studio and ask me to help to produce and record or mix their projects, and vice versa. If I need an arranger, if I need a musician, I've already built that network of contacts and I've already built those relationships more than over 20 years ago. And to this day, those relationships have proven to be very, very valuable. Number two, get as much industry experience as possible and as early as possible. Most courses are designed with at least one semester of internships or practical training. This is usually in the final year. And these are designed to, of course, give students exposure to the industry and the work environment. Now, here's what I gotta say. Don't wait until your final year to begin your practical training. Don't wait until it's the allocated semester for you to do an internship to begin dipping your toes into the industry. Try to get an internship or some kind of part-time work at a studio or in live sound, okay, when live sound comes back again, as soon as you are ready with your basic skills and your knowledge, okay? Don't wait till your final year. Now, in my second year as a student, I began volunteering my time with a gospel music producer by the name of Timothy Lee, helping to engineer session at his home studio. I even did some music arrangements, did some guitar recordings, and from that alone, I got my first paid gig, right, within a year, and even mixed my first album, right, the following year. All this while I was still a student in college. Not to brag, but again, this is to give you a competitive edge over your peers. Now imagine, being a student, getting paid and earning engineering credits while most of your classmates were still only just attending classes. So when it came to my fourth and my final year, I already had several projects credited to my name. But then I had also started my own home studio, right? Recording many independent hip-hop artists, including James Baum, Caprice, and of course, right, my good friends from Tetarik Crew. When it came time to perform my internship, I approached Greg Henderson, who told me that I didn't need to undergo an internship already, as at that point, effectively with my experience and the work credits that I have, I was already effectively working in the industry. So, instead, I couldn't believe my luck because he suggested and helped me get on board as a freelance engineer at Synchro Sound Studios back in PJ. So I had the privilege, even though I was supposed to be technically an intern, but I was already working, right, as a full-fledged engineer and producer at a world-class studio. Now, this leads me to my next point. Number 3, find a mentor. Audio engineering is an apprenticed craft, and just like any other crafts, knowledge was traditionally passed on from a master to a apprentice. Now, the teacher-student relationship here is what helps preserve the knowledge and lessons learned from previous generations of audio professionals. Nowadays, the internet has become the primary source of knowledge and information, but unfortunately, it has also taken away from this master and apprentice relationship. You know, many skills that were once passed down from one generation to the next, right, are kind of being lost now. And although, yes, the barriers to entry are much lower, this also brings along its own set of problems. Okay, now, what I mean by that is that the main one of the main complaints that I have nowadays with some of the newer engineers that come out is that usually stuff which was once considered basic fundamental skills, it gets glossed over, it gets ignored, and they just don't have a strong grasp of some of the basic fundamental knowledge and skills. Now, don't get me wrong, technology is a great and a wonderful thing, right? It's allowed many people, right, to achieve and to do many amazing things which used to be restricted to, right, the privileged few, only the few that could afford to, right, or the few that, right, had the technical know-how or the aptitude. But I do wish, though, that we don't forget the incredible value of learning from an experienced professional, right? Growing under their wings, having them passing on their wisdom and their knowledge, right? All these things which you definitely cannot find anywhere on the internet. Okay, 2 names I mentioned earlier, Timothy Lee and Greg Henderson, right? These are 2 of the names that I really look up to, and the time spent and the lessons learned under them, right, are incredibly valuable. I really treasure and I really cherish all of those experiences to this day. Now, with Greg Henderson, I had the great privilege of having him produce my band's debut album back in 2001. So as an aspiring audio engineer, I was an engineering student right back in ICOM. One could not have asked for a better teacher, right, than Greg Henderson himself. Now, I would sit in for every single recording session. I even, stayed back in the studio when everyone else had already finished their parts and gone back home. I would stay back and just watch, right, Greg work. Our album was recorded in Playtime Studios and also Synchro Sound Studios. I'll get the opportunity to set up mics, cables, watch him work, set up the gear. And even though I was supposedly the recording artist, right, hey, there is no way that I would pass up on this opportunity to do hands-on work and to assist for such an awesome and an amazing producer and an engineer. Now, almost everything I've learned about producing and audio engineering came from Greg, from my recording and mixing techniques, session workflow, even down to my project templates. He even introduced me to the world of Cubase, VST, even helped me set up my first DAW. Wow, the list goes on now, right? I really owe both Greg Henderson and also Timothy Lee for so many things. Find an engineer or producer who you admire their work, contact them or contact the studio that they work for. Ask to try and get an internship or some kind of a part-time position. And I have to say, it might not be a popular opinion. Be willing to work for free or with little to no pay, or hopefully, right, if they can give you a little bit of allowance, that would be great. But I'll be sure they would be glad to hire or get an intern or assistant if you come across as an individual with good character and with the determination to learn and to serve. Okay, now, which brings me to my next point. Be hungry, be determined, be dependable. One of the biggest flaws I observe with many of the interns that come through the doors, right, is that kind of a bit of a lack of hunger in pursuing the craft. Now, perhaps it's the nature of modern life that we tend to fill up our days with many other distractions and being unable to set our priorities. So the end result is that many of them kind of only want to spend the minimum amount of time to graduate, to finish the course, to get the credit hours to graduate. Very often they would come in at the required time, which is great, which is good, and once the session is over, immediately head for home. Hardly anyone wants to stick around observing how the engineer producer does the additional work, or take the initiative, or even volunteer or ask for additional tasks. Again, I'm not judging anyone, as we are all have different lives, we all have different experiences, but it's just kind of something that I've observed, right, compared to my own personal experiences. Being in a studio is a great privilege, and as a student, I would love to spend all of my waking hours, if possible, even if it meant sitting at the back of the control room, you know, watching a Greg Henderson and watching a producer and engineer do boring stuff like editing vocals, doing automation, and all that, right? I, for the life of me, would never understand why would anyone who professes a love for music and audio not want to spend every single waking hour in the studio, But perhaps that's just me. Showing up is half of the battle, but going that extra mile is what wins the war, okay? Just go ahead and if you read any interviews, right, of any successful audio professional, they'll tell you the same thing. Passion alone is not enough. You have to put in the time and you have to put in the work. Number 5, learn how to charge for your work. Know your worth and don't be afraid to charge for what your time is worth. Learn how to set your hourly rate, as this forms the basis of how you charge your clients for their work. Okay, this is one of the most often asked questions from students who graduate, and I've actually made this video a while ago which just addresses this topic. But you can click on this card, it will take you to this video. You check it out, okay? But learn how to charge for your work. Number 6, the quality of your clients is related to how much you charge. Now, this is related to lesson number 5, and it's just a reminder that the perception of your worth is equally important. Now, while setting low rates, right, charging cheap rates can be helpful in getting gigs, in the long run, it only it hinders your growth and financial stability. Now, if you undercut your competition and you charge lower rates, you will tend to attract clients that are of lower quality. Low rates get low quality clients, right? And what I mean by that is usually means, amateurs, folks who are maybe not as talented, not as proficient, not as musically experienced. And not only that, usually these lower quality clients are only going to be willing to pay that amount. The moment you sort of increase your rates, if you decide, that, oh, I've got more experience, I have more credits to your portfolio, and you want to increase your rates, very often these same clients, the lower quality clients, are going to jump ship and go to whoever's next that's charging cheaper. Number 7, your independence can hinder your progress. Now, this is for younger viewers, especially if you are a student or you are a fresh graduate. Now, here's an important point to think about. Now, if your family is actually willing to support you by letting you live at home, while you figure out your career, while you sort out your career path, swallow your pride, okay, right? Stay at home, stay with your parents, stay with your family, right? Maybe pay a small rent, chip in with some of the utilities and expenses. Things such as studio rental, insurance, right? All the other living expenses that comes with, being so-called independent, right? Can be a huge stumbling block to your career and in helping you develop your craft. There's no shame in getting a job outside of audio that allows you to, save some money. Do what you have to do to, cut expenses, to survive, to pay the bills, especially in these times of COVID, with the lack of industry jobs, right? Explore the possibility of becoming a freelance engineer or producer based out of a commercial studio. In many countries, right, due to the shrinking budgets and revenues, a lot of the business models have reverted to this, right? And many studios have spare rooms which are underutilized. So work out an arrangement with the owners, right? For example, here at Studio 2105, I run the workspace program for freelance engineers, in which, right, you can use our rooms and our equipment here. And instead of spending money on buying gear, instead of spending money on doing acoustic renovations and all that, save that money, right? Take your work here into an existing studio space. Utilize the equipment, utilize the facilities that are already there provided for you. Not only is it much more attractive to your clients, because hey, you are working, instead of working out of your bedroom or out in your living room, right? You are actually, the impression and the appearance of working in a professional studio environment. Number 8, don't overlook the value of becoming a fast and skilled editor. Be proficient with your tools, okay? Learn how to perform edits quickly, know how to edit drum tracks, how to perform sample replacement, know how to edit vocals, know how to do pitch correction manually. These are some of the few special skills which can set you apart from others and can be additional sources of income. Have what I call song awareness, musical awareness, okay? Know how to quickly identify the sections in the song, be able to quickly navigate, to instantly navigate to a certain point in the song when a client instructs you to do so. Know your shortcuts, know your key commands, be able to copy paste a section within seconds. There's nothing more awkward, right? And you're trying to figure out how to do this or how to do that, right? When the client or the producer is sitting there and watching you and waiting for you to do that task. If you can be super fast at fixing a timing or pitching issue, adjusting a section, or doing an edit, right? Not only do you help your clients save time, and by that helping them save money, they will love you for it and keep coming back to you. If you are an engineer at a studio, and you are able to do all these things really, really fast and really quickly, I guarantee you the next time they will book, when they book the session, they're gonna ask for you again. Number 9, pay attention. Have situational awareness and read the room. One of the important lessons that I've learned is don't just stare at the computer screen. Keep your eyes on the artist or the other side of the control room window, at the producer, at your clients who are in the control room. Watch for the instructions. Pay attention to their instructions. Pay attention to their body language. If the music is playing back and the producer is having a conversation with someone, don't just sit there when the music is blasting around. Turn the volume down or stop the playback. Let them have their conversations. Let them have their discussions. Take the initiative. If you see that the artist needs water, have all these things prepared beforehand. If you see that the producer needs something, have pen and paper ready, have a notepad ready, have all of these things ready and prepared on hand, and take the initiative. Last but not least, number 10, learn basic business skills. One of the things that I've come to learn is that many of the tasks that I do in the studio every day require skills that have nothing to do with audio. Things like scheduling, accounting, budgeting, keeping records, invoices, writing emails, drafting proposals, marketing, networking. All these things have got absolutely nothing to do with recording or mixing or EQ or compression, right? Learn to do all these things, or at least, right, be able to delegate all these tasks. This will really, really help you out in your career as an audio professional. Learn how to create content, okay? Learn how to create content for social media, learn basic video and photo editing. These were things which I wished I would have learned 20 years ago, but these are some of the things, especially right in, as you can see on my YouTube channel right here, these are things which I've only learned just over a year ago. All right, and there you have it. Those are the 10 lessons that I have learned throughout my career in the audio industry. I hope that you found this video helpful, and whatever information and lessons that I've shared with you, hopefully I hope that you'll be able to take some of these lessons and apply them in your own career, wherever you may be at your point in your career, whether you are just starting out or whether you have been in the industry for many years, or maybe you are thinking of getting into music and you're thinking about getting audio, right? Hopefully what I've shared with you today will be of great use. Okay, thank you again so much for watching. Okay, this video might have been a little bit long. I do apologize for that. If you found it useful and informative, please do leave a like, do share this with your friends. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, become a subscriber, sign up for the email list, become a patron at www.patreon.com/studio2105. I'll see you again in another video real soon. Stay safe, stay happy and healthy. Happy recording and mixing. Peace, love, and music.